But Diocletian was right before. He was 250 to 300. He was as bad, if not worse, than Domitian. So the idea of comforting the believers, making them understand, hey, the end is known. Satan is defeated. He knows it, but just like someone who is fighting death, you know it's coming, but you're still fighting it. He's dead. He knows he's dead, but he's still fighting it. He wants to exact as much wrath as he can before he goes. All right, so let's do our first vision. So these things, and we may wrap the whole thing. We are going to not illustrate the visions. We're going to diagram the visions, because visions are very complex and they relate to each other. And a vision later in the book, they relate to an earlier vision. So I'm going to diagram the first ones that we come to, just so we see how we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it. I know we have paper up there, but I want the relationships between the visions to be clear, because I've read it many times, and it always starts getting a little fuzzy as you start going to them and how they relate to each other. So this one is a very simple vision, nothing terribly complex about it. Someone read 9 through 11, if you will.
I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ, was in the island of Patmos for the word of God and for the testimony of Jesus Christ. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice, as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea.
All right. So in verse 9, and I don't remember which your translation, if it said this. What does it say? He's a partner in what?
Tribulation, trouble.
Tribulation, yeah. Tribulation's there. It's happening. I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm a partner in tribulation. I'm a partner in the kingdom. And in what else? And in the patient endurance that are in Jesus.
Right.
They're in the tribulation. It's clearly happening. He's using the word right there. And he says, Patmos, we talked about that, about 3,000 people. It's about a mile by 6 miles wide. It's kind of it's not a round, it's kind of a zigzagged, if that's a word, zigzaggy, one rocky, not much to it. And he says, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. What's in the Spirit? Praying.
Worshipful attitude.
Worshipful attitude. I mean, it was, I think the significance here is that he was in a major, he wasn't just praying, dutifully, he wasn't praying out of obligation. He was walking with the Lord. It was, I was in the Spirit. And when was it?
On the Lord's Day.
When was it the Lord's Day? So what's the Lord's Day in this case? Sunday. And so, what was going on Sunday at that time? It was the
Assembly of the believers, the worship would go on that day, but he's not there.
He's not there.
Because he's on the island.
He's on Patmos.
exiled.
But what else is going on? What are the pagans doing on Sunday?
Worshiping the sun god.
They're also worshiping their pagan god. And so it's sort of juxtaposition that this is not the pagan day. This is the Lord's day, and we're gonna. So here, a loud voice is a trumpet, and trumpet referring. What's the trumpet used for? probably not now anymore, but up until fairly recently in history. Remember the trumpet, what was it announcing? Battle was the announcement.
Call.
A call.
Yeah.
But it could be a trumpet, a battle cry, it could be, major announcement, conquest, victory. I mean, there's a lot of connotations to it. And so, I'm sorry, so it said, I heard behind me a voice like a trumpet saying, write what you see in a book and send them to the seven churches. So, again, we talked about this last week, that this is, John was a smart guy. He was not known to be a literary master. He wasn't a J.R.R. Tolkien. This incredible work of apocalyptic literature didn't come from his mind. This came from a vision, and he was told to write down what he saw. All right, so I'm going to read 12 through 16.
I turned around to see the voice that was speaking to me. And when I turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. And among the lampstands was someone like the Son of Man, dressed in a robe, reaching down to his feet and with a golden sash around his chest. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as a snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of rushing waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and out of his mouth came a sharp double-edged sword. His face was like the sun shining in all his brilliance. What's that?
Yeah, that's it. So who are we talking about? He turned around and he saw someone speaking to him, and saw 7 lampstands. So what's 7 lampstands? What's the 7 lampstand significance of?
Churches?
So I'm gonna diagram some of that later. So we got lampstands. Then we have, and that's an Old Testament. The 7 lampstands is a Jewish Old Testament reference to I think the tabernacle, kept in the holy place. So there were 7 lampstands in the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle. And then and later the 7 lampstands symbolize the Church of Jesus Christ, but here it's kind of referring to the main church. So there's this guy who is like the Son of Man. That's a hint who it is. He's clothed in a long robe with the golden sash. References back to Exodus. White hair and flaming eyes. Could be symbols of holiness. I'm going to try to get through this real quick before we leave this last piece. Symbol of holiness. Daniel 7:9, Ancient of Days, has similar reference. Burnished bronze. Both Ezekiel and Daniel, the fire-like brightness of shining metal, the symbols connected with the appearance of the glory of God. Voice. What's the voice like? Many waters. Great power and authority. And then 7 stars identifies the 7 angels. I'm sorry, yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. Right here, 7 stars, yeah. So 7 stars. There are various suggestions. Any thought about stars, what the stars are?
An angel for each church.
Angels, yeah. There's messengers.
An angel over each church.
The pastor.
Some review as guardian angels, and some look at pastors. That's the general. So it's the pastors of the church. 2-edged sword comes from where? Christ's mouth. He's speaking with a two-edged sword. That's an interesting. I like that particular illustration. Judicial power and might, both inside and outside of the church, perhaps. And then shining face, transfiguration. His light, his light shone like the sun. So let's go 17 through 20 real quick.
I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death. Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches.
All right, so he interprets Christ interprets the vision at the end, says the 7 stars are the 7 angels of the churches, the pastors. 7 lampstands are those churches. So he describes those. But it's interesting. If you saw that vision, what would you do? He fell down as though he was dead. Now, was he falling down as though he was dead because he was pretending to be dead, so so he'd be ignored, or was he just out of sheer
Awe and
prostrated himself and laid his right hand on me, saying, "Fear not." So don't fear Christ. I'm coming, and I got a job for you to do. He said, I have the keys of death and Hades. So ultimately, who's in control?
Jesus.
Christ is in control. Satan's allowed to do his business during the time that he's doing his business, but ultimately, God's in control, and God will be, His will be done. All right. So we're going to start the letters next week. Any questions, thoughts, comments?
Carol and I have to be somewhere next week. Can we get video from, how can we get it from you?
I'm going to see if I can make a YouTube channel for it.
And
Okay.
Gary's got it last week.
I don't know where to put it.
He does.
So he does have last week's available somewhere?
It's on his phone right now, but he's.
Okay. All right.
Maybe he can send it to Kevin. And
I was thinking about, that might be a good place to put it, is make a YouTube channel. And
It
put
does
on
make sense.
Yeah.
And then we won't miss any more, I promise.
All right, well, thanks. Okay, well, good. Well, appreciate it. Let me close this in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this just amazing word, Lord. We just pray that you will guide me, guide this class in the study of it, Lord, that our reading of it will be as you intended, Lord. Nothing more, nothing less. Just pray that you'll be with those who aren't here and are traveling. Just watch over them and guide them. Just be with Ken as he prepares to preach. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Ken, you're not
Amen.
preaching. You'd be gone.